Cancer sensitive soul woven from the currents of emotion. You who know the true value of security and deep connection. A financial storm is approaching. But don't brace for ruin. This isn't a wave that comes to tear you down. It's one that comes to shake loose the old roots, to release the dust of scarcity you've been carrying, and make room for something long awaited. From September 24th to 30th, 2025, the skies above you are setting into a rare alignment, not to test your resilience, but to break the dam holding back your abundance. And no, this isn't coincidence. If this message found you, it means something within you called it in. You were nudged here for a reason. This isn't just a video you happen to click on. This is the knock you've been waiting for. The tap on your shoulder from something greater that's been watching you build in silence. Cancer, you've just crossed into a multi-day portal that holds the potential to reshape your entire relationship with money. Not just through gain, but through deep, soul-rooted transformation. Here's why this exact window matters. Your ruling planet, the moon, symbol of emotions, intuition, and home security, is linking in a rare trine with Pluto, the great transformer. That means the energies around you are primed not just for a stroke of luck, but for a profound energetic reset. At the same time, Jupiter, cosmic giver of expansion and grace, is activating new paths through intuitive senses, meaningful conversations, and timing that feels impossibly right. And in late September, as the moon moves through a powerful position, it lights a fuse of innovation, opening unexpected doors, creative income, and ideas that don't play by the old rules. Put all of that together, and what you get isn't just a good day. It's a window, one that can shift you out of surviving and into thriving. So ask yourself, have you been quietly hoping, even praying for a breakthrough you can feel in your bones? Have you sensed that no matter how hard you try, something's been holding the financial flow just out of reach? If you've stayed faithful while no one saw you, let this be the moment when the universe turns toward you, not quietly, but fully seen. You've heard the promise. What's sown in secret will be rewarded in the open. And listen, Cancer, I need you to really take this in. This isn't the time to wait and see. Not the time to weigh all your options or wait until everything feels absolutely safe. That part of you that needs certainty, emotional security, it's not leading right now. Your action is, the gates are wide, but you're the one who has to walk forward. What you're about to hear in this message could flip the story you've been telling yourself about money, not just for this moment, but for the long road ahead. You'll understand why the timing is so precise, what signals to look for, and how to shape your inner ground so the wealth that's coming has a place to root itself and grow. Before we go any deeper, let me say this from my heart. Thank you for showing up. Every comment you leave, every moment you spend listening, every way you engage with this message, it's not just a signal to me. It's a signal to the universe that you're present, that you're listening, that you're open to what's been waiting. You being here fully now is what makes this moment matter. And I want you to really feel this. If you found this message, it's because something in you is already prepared. You're not arriving late. You're arriving exactly when your soul and home are ready. And believe me, you'll want to stay with me all the way through this message. To fully activate this moment, I want you to take one small action. Go to the comments and write, "I was chosen to receive divine and secure wealth." Let that be your inner vow, spoken out loud. Now, let's begin. There are moments in life when something shifts quietly, not with fanfare, but with a kind of stillness that makes the air feel different on your skin. When time doesn't just pause, it deepens. Not in some far-off mystical way, but in a way that settles into your bones and brings you face to face with something true. Cancer, what you're stepping into from September 24th to 30th isn't just a lucky window written in the stars. It's a season of deep soul renewal, one that speaks to how you value yourself, how you hold your worth, and how you've come to understand the energy of receiving. Yes, that includes money, but it also touches your sense of purpose, your ability to speak up, and your place in the world. As the moon, your ruling planet, forms a gentle yet profound trine with Pluto, you're being invited to peel back the layers of how you've defined power and value, not in relation to others, but in how you move through your own choices. So often we're taught to chase wealth like it's something just out of reach, something we have to earn through endless effort. But what if in these days you're not meant to chase anything? What if you're meant to remember that wealth is something you already carry, that you've never been behind, only in a season of shedding, of preparation, of make room for what's finally ready to grow? This Moon-Pluto alignment is a quiet revolution, a moment to set down the old scripts, the ones you inherited from family, society, or hard years that taught you that abundance was for someone else. Maybe you were taught that sacrifice was honorable, or that wanting more made you selfish. Maybe you shrank your own dreams to keep the peace in your family or relationships. But now, the ground beneath you is loosening. These stars are not testing you. They are opening a door, and when you release what was never truly yours, you make space for what has been waiting to come alive in you. Jupiter, casting its expansive light from Gemini, brings this message closer to the surface through deep insights, heartfelt conversations, passing messages, or unexpected connections. Not loud, not obvious, but woven with perfect timing. An idea you once brushed off might now return clearer and more alive than before. Or maybe there's something you've held in, a truth, a vision, a longing that suddenly finds its voice. And in speaking it, you will unlock something for someone else. And in that reflection, something shifts in you too. Jupiter reminds us, generosity and openness are not opposites. They are partners in growth. So if a door opens, a hand reaches out, or a message arrives that feels aligned, don't push it away. Don't question whether you're too much or not enough. Your ability to welcome goodness without guilt is part of your healing. Now in this moment, receiving itself becomes sacred. Then comes the moon's power in late September, a breath of wind that stirs the soul, a quiet, creative awakening disguised as inner clarity. This is where your ideas become real, where what you sense begins to take form in ways that nourish you. With its future-forward rhythm, the moon invites you to step off the beaten path, to stop trying to walk roads that were never built for you. These lunar energies might nudge you gently or call you out directly to come back to your own way. The most fruitful paths now may not yet have proof on paper, but they will feel steady in your gut, real in your body, and that's what you follow. Some call it divine insight, others call it instinct. You'll know it because it will feel like a weight lifting, like light slipping through cracks you didn't know were there, like breath finding its way into lungs that had forgotten how to soften. That's the feeling of your yes, of knowing, of returning to what's always been yours. You don't need a label for it. You don't need a ritual. But if you've ever sat in the dark and whispered a quiet prayer, not for miracles, but just for a sign, a way, a little more light, this may be the gentle reply. Not loud, not dramatic, but undeniably real. The kind of moment that doesn't just rearrange your life, but changes how you carry it. Maybe you've been trying to hold everything together, trying to plan your way forward with precision. But what if now the way forward is softer? What if it's about listening, not chasing, and letting each step reveal itself in time? You don't have to be perfect. You only need to be open. And if something in this message feels like it was spoken straight into the heart of you, then trust that it was. Leave a comment and make it real. Write, I am open, I am ready, I receive. Let your next chapter begin here, quietly, powerfully, on your own terms. Sometimes what we call struggle is really just a familiar rhythm, a pattern we've walked so long it starts to feel like truth. Cancer, because you value safety, comfort, and inner peace so deeply. You often wait until your emotions feel stable, absolutely secure before planting a new seed. You want to be sure that everything will grow steadily, that no one will be unsettled, that everything around you holds a quiet balance. But in all that waiting for the signs, for security, for perfect timing, you may have unknowingly trained yourself to stay still even when your spirit is whispering that it's time to move. What begins as a longing for peace can slowly harden into a kind of hesitation that keeps your growth on pause. In this chapter, it asks more from you. It asks you to look gently and without blame at the small choices you've made for the sake of comfort that may have quietly kept you limited, like saying yes to what's familiar instead of what's real, or choosing silence over truth because you didn't want to disturb emotional stability. This isn't about self-blame, it's about awakening. And that awakening, that moment of recognizing what no longer fits, is the beginning of freedom. The deeper truth is this: scarcity is not a divine verdict. It isn't a punishment handed down by fate. More often, it's an inheritance shaped by voices that were also afraid, who once believed that survival meant smallness. Maybe you were told that desiring more made you selfish, or that having wealth would take something away from others. Or maybe deep inside you carried the belief that enduring hardship would eventually make you more worthy of grace, especially in caring for others. But here, in this season of your life, you're being invited to bring those beliefs out into the light. Not to battle them, not to reject the people who pass them down. Just to ask softly, do these beliefs still serve me now? Because there is nothing holy about exhaustion. There is no virtue in shrinking your desires to make someone else feel safe. What if wealth, real grounded soul-honoring wealth, wasn't about accumulation at all, but about restoration, the ability to choose to rest, to care, and to live without fear, driving every decision? The stars this September are offering a shift. The harmony between the moon and Pluto is helping you redefine value on your own terms. Not how it's been sold to you, but how it lives in your body. And Jupiter is widening your lens, sending new insights, unexpected conversations, and a glimpse into something bigger than the life you've carefully held together. But here's the thing: the only thing that could block what's coming is the old belief that says you're not quite ready, that you still have more to fix, more to prove. But Cancer, you are ready. You've been ready longer than you think. Here's a question I always come back to when the fear around money gets loud. If I change nothing today, where will I be 5 years from now? Not in theory, but in the day-to-day. What will your mornings feel like? What kind of space will you live in? Who will you become? What kind of freedom or tightness will shape your choices then? This isn't to scare you. It's to reconnect you with the truth you already carry beneath the noise. You weren't made for lack. You weren't meant to grit your teeth through every season. You're allowed to shift course. Sometimes the most radical miracle isn't something sudden and grand. It's the quiet decision made in the middle of a regular day. The moment you stop surviving and start choosing again. When you begin to see money, not as something that controls you, but as something that reflects your inner rhythm, your values, your desires, your peace. When you stop seeing it as shameful or heavy, and instead as a tool, a vessel for the life you're meant to build. So, if you need the reminder today, you are not too late. You are not behind. You're simply standing at the edge of a different way. And if you choose it, you don't need to leap just one clear, grounded step. I am allowed to want more, and I am ready to receive it in peace. Let that be your new rhythm. Not every turning point makes noise. Some arrive like a breeze, moving through the trees, subtle but undeniable. Cancer, what's shifting for you now might not come in grand gestures or bright signs. It may come quietly in the form of an unexpected message, a familiar name reappearing after time, a passing moment that suddenly feels significant. This is how life sometimes brings opportunity, not dressed in certainty but wrapped in instinct. And this time, it's waiting for you to sense it. The energies shaping your path, especially the gentle conversation between Jupiter and the Moon, are activating what I call your inner compass. That place where knowing doesn't need explanation. You don't need a spreadsheet. You don't need 10 reasons why. You simply feel that it's aligned. But feeling and trusting are two different thresholds. And this is your work now, not to analyze, but to lean in, to believe that what already feels right doesn't need to be dissected to be real. This part of your path is sacred because it asks you to stop waiting for a sign to be obvious. Maybe for years you've asked, what if it's too soon? What if I'm wrong? What if I fail? But maybe the real question is this: what if this is the door you've been waiting for and you miss it because it didn't look the way you expected? Jupiter has a way of making everything it touches grow, not just in size, but in presence, in possibility. And when it joins forces with the Moon, especially for you, Cancer, those gifts tend to show up wrapped in relationships, timing, and emotional resonance that feels almost too aligned to be accidental. This means what's arriving might not look like a breakthrough at first. It could be subtle, a conversation that lingers in your mind, a seemingly small offer, or a casual encounter that quietly shifts the course of your path. It might be a one-time opportunity that blossoms into a partnership you couldn't have planned for, or a simple idea that starts like a whisper and grows into your next source of steady income. Sometimes it's not even a thing. It's a moment of deep clarity that pulls your direction into focus, like your internal compass suddenly realigning. These are what I like to call divine detours. They rarely come in straight lines. They often bypass your plans, but they always carry the flavor of something your spirit once asked for, maybe even long ago. The energy of this moment can be felt most clearly through the High Priestess, the card in tarot that holds space for mystery, deep, feminine knowing, and inner sovereignty. This is very aligned with your intuition, Cancer. She doesn't explain herself. She doesn't perform. She listens to the rhythm beneath the noise and trusts what she hears. Over the coming days, especially if you've been sensing something hovering just beyond view, her presence might feel familiar. The High Priestess shows up when the answers aren't out there to be hunted. They're within you, waiting to be recognized. The question becomes, will you quiet yourself enough to hear them? We're often told to trust our gut, but that trust is rarely easy when there's money, approval, or change hanging in the balance. It takes bravery to believe yourself, and sometimes it takes even more courage to be right and still stand by what you know. That's the edge this week is bringing you to. And Cancer, I know how much you care about moving with steadiness, about building something that lasts, especially for your home and loved ones. But this isn't a time to hold back your truth for the sake of ease. If you've ever felt that unmistakable yes rise up in your body before your mind could even catch up, then you already know this energy. These are the days when that kind of knowing is especially alive in you. Not because magic is falling from the sky, but because you're more attuned than usual to what's already inside you. And when you trust that when you move in rhythm with your deeper senses, you become magnetic in a way that doesn't need to shout. So take a breath and ask yourself, what chances, what invitations, what possibilities have been circling quietly around me that I've been too careful to accept? What if the next yes is already close and it's just waiting for me to open the door? If you've ever followed an intuitive nudge that led to something unexpectedly good, a connection, a financial win, a new path, share it in the comments. Someone else might be right where you once were, needing your story to find their courage. Inspiration doesn't always look like a masterpiece hanging on a wall. Sometimes it's simply the choice to speak up when you'd normally stay quiet, to share an idea in a room where you once held back, to offer your unique view on something everyone else has overlooked. Creativity isn't about performing, it's about showing up differently. And maybe for you, it begins right here. Cancer, this moment in your life isn't asking you to have it all figured out. It's asking you to show up gently, fully, and in your own timing. Because from September 24th to 30th, the energy moving through your chart doesn't just support abundance. It wants your deep resonance, co-creating it with your heartfelt presence. One of the biggest misconceptions about wealth is that it must be wrestled into being through strain hustle or relentless logic. But what if some of your most profound financial shifts are waiting in softness, in joy, in quiet creativity, in the pleasure of simply doing what feels true? The stars are aligned now, not to push you harder, but to help you fall into a natural rhythm where things begin to flow, not because you forced them, but because you allowed them. So anything that stirs your heart, anything that makes you forget time because you're immersed in it, that may be the very doorway to new income, fresh recognition, or emotional clarity. If you work in a creative or heart-led field, design, coaching, beauty, writing content, this is a time to honor those spontaneous sparks. Don't wait for the idea to be polished. Capture it when it comes. Jot it down in a notebook. Record a voice memo. Let it be messy, raw, unfinished. There's deep wisdom in what hasn't been shaped yet, and often the thoughts we almost toss aside, the ones we think are too strange or too simple, become the ones that reach the farthest. If you're in a more structured space like corporate or office work, don't assume creativity has no place there. Quite the opposite, Cancer. Your gift is in the way you notice connections others miss. That steady idea you've been sitting with, a process, change a product, tweak a quiet what if, could be the exact shift your team didn't even know it needed. And when you bring that idea forward with sincerity, not for credit, but from a place of grounded care, the ripple effect can open doors, opportunities, recognition, new pathways. These often arrive when someone dares to offer something honest and fresh into a space that's gone stale. If you're building an online platform or exploring ways to earn in digital spaces, this energy becomes even more magnetic. It's not about chasing virality. It's about allowing yourself to be seen clearly, steadily, by the right people at the right moment. Don't overlook the power of your presence. A heartfelt story, a short post, a video made in natural light. These are seeds, and seeds don't need certainty to begin. They need faith in the unseen process. They need your quiet willingness to plant them. One way to anchor this energy, try a soft daily practice. Each morning before your tasks pull you into motion, give yourself 5 minutes. Write down 3 creative nudges. Not goals, not outcomes, just 3 small impressions. Even if they come as fragments or whispers, over time, patterns will emerge. And those patterns will form a direction. Some will grow into real offerings. Some will connect you with the people meant to walk beside you. And some might simply bring you closer to the version of yourself you've been waiting to uncover. When you're not sure what to do next, trust the feeling. You'll know when something is flowing from truth instead of pressure. The inspired ones might stretch. You might even make your heart race a little. But that's how you'll know they're meant for you. That's how the path begins to open. This time also invites intention through visual energy. If it feels good to you, wear or surround yourself with colors that echo the vibration of what you're calling in. Green for renewal, and the slow, steady growth that roots take underground, or for emotional healing. Gold for the kind of wealth that glows from within, and white gold, soft and luminous, for clarity and grace as you move into spaces you've never entered before. These aren't spells. They're reminders, quiet talismans to keep you tethered to the energy you're cultivating, to help you remember that this is not about rushing. It's about aligning. What matters most right now isn't how polished your plan is. It's whether you're willing to begin, to trust that your creativity is not frivolous, your ideas are not random, your voice is not behind. The world is not asking you to be perfect. It's asking you to be present. Abundance isn't just about what you can earn. It's about what you can hold with patience, with purpose, with the kind of wisdom that turns small beginnings into lasting fruit. Cancer, the truth is calling in money, is just the first step. What truly defines your prosperity is how you tend to it once it arrives, not with tension, but with presence and care. This phase of your journey invites you into a deeper relationship with wealth, not through pressure, but through grounded responsibility that feels like empowerment. Because the universe pours most generously into vessels that are not only open to receive, but ready to hold what's given, not just for a moment, but for the long seasons ahead. When you begin to see money as energy, something shifts at the roots. Money flows best when your intentions are steady, when your systems support what you value, and when your emotional landscape isn't constantly sabotaging your decisions. From that foundation, financial ease doesn't feel like a miracle. It begins to feel like your natural rhythm, stable, freeing, and sustainable. You're no longer chasing it. You're working with it, receiving, guiding, and expanding it. One gentle and effective way to ground this is by organizing your finances into sustainable portions. The 5-0-3-0-2-0 approach is one such method, simple but powerful. It supports both your current self and the future you're cultivating. Allocate 50% toward essentials, the things that keep your daily life rooted and flowing. Let 30% nourish your joy, growth, creativity, and spiritual nourishment. And place the final 20% into savings or investments, even if it's a small beginning. That act of planting, however modest, starts building a foundation over time. This isn't about restriction, it's about freedom with form. Because when every dollar knows where it belongs, peace begins to replace the unease. You shift from reacting to building, from fear to form. And in that shift, you reclaim your power. Just as vital is the emotional energy you bring to money. So many people, even those who earn more than enough, still live in quiet fear, still feel hollow because they've never tended to the old belief that says it's never enough. That's why gratitude isn't just a nice idea. It's a tool, a sacred practice. Every time money flows to you in any form, pause for a heartbeat. Acknowledge it. Whisper softly to yourself, "I am worthy of this, and I receive it with thanks." That small moment begins to shift what once felt undeserving. It teaches your inner self that wealth is no longer foreign or dangerous. It's welcome, safe, allowed to stay and grow. But with love, be mindful of where your money is leaking. We often spend from emotion to soothe, to celebrate, to fill a space we haven't quite named. And while there's no shame in the instinct, there is wisdom in watching it, because real abundance doesn't require you to prove anything. It asks you to honor yourself first. Before you buy to feel better, ask gently, is this nourishing me or distracting me from something deeper? And if you catch the impulse, don't shame it. Just choose with more awareness next time. That alone is an act of healing. One of the most stabilizing choices you can make for your financial flow is to give from a full, grounded place, Not to earn points, not from guilt, but from overflow. Even setting aside a modest 5 to 10% of your income for generosity can shift your entire energetic relationship with wealth. Whether it's a gift to a friend, a cause close to your heart, or a quiet gesture, no one sees giving keeps money alive, emotion blessed. It teaches your spirit that wealth is not something to hoard. It's something to steward with clarity and intention. And here's something tender but powerful to hold close. How you tend to the small things tells the universe how prepared you are for more. If you can treat $20 with care and appreciation, you're already preparing yourself to carry $2,000 with grace. It's not about the number. It's about the attention, the respect, the devotion to doing things differently. So maybe now is your time to begin again, to reframe the way you see money not as cold currency, but as a reflection of your relationship with yourself. Let it mirror calm, let it mirror trust, let it mirror your quiet readiness. Because you weren't made to fear money, you were made to flow with it. And in that flow, become a steady, rooted vessel for greater abundance to move through you. Cancer, there's something quietly life-altering about realizing you were never meant to sit and wait for things to change. You were meant to rise into the change itself, to meet it with grounded presence, with deliberate heart, and your own emotional security. What we've explored together today isn't just a forecast or a prediction. It's a call, a nudge from the deeper part of you that already knows. You were never just a passive receiver of good fortune. You've always been a co-creator of it. The energy of abundance doesn't show up by chance. It gravitates toward the ones who make space for it, who create containers strong enough to hold it, who trust that they are worthy of tending to what grows. And you are. This period from September 24th to 30th carries more than just astrological promise. It carries energetic significance. Yes, the skies are aligning. Yes, the timing is ripe. But none of that matters unless you choose to stand in what you now know. Because the most powerful breakthroughs won't only appear outside of you. They'll rise up from within like roots pushing through hardened ground after a long winter. This storm of wealth energy isn't here to drown you. It's here to rinse away the fear, the old patterns, the quiet beliefs that told you your value had to be earned or proved. So let's be honest with ourselves for a moment. Where have you dimmed your glow to keep things safe? Where have you chosen comfort over expansion? And more importantly, what would begin to shift if right now you decided you were ready for wealth that reaches beyond money? Wealth in ease, wealth in time, wealth in rooted choice, wealth in stillness, wealth in freedom that comes not from chasing, but from owning your enoughness. This is the vibration you're stepping into, and it begins when you say yes to it. Let this video be more than something you hear once and forget. Let it become a small ritual, something you return to, a reminder you plant like a seed each morning of this powerful multi-day window. Let it rewire the part of you that was taught to wait. Let it remind your body that you are building a new rhythm, a new legacy, one rooted in trust instead of fear, especially trust in your own intuition and the safety of your home. You're not stuck with what you were given. You get to choose the energy you build your life from. You get to start over, not from scratch, but from wisdom. And from my heart, I thank you for showing up today. Every moment you've spent, reflecting, every time you've paused to like, to comment, or to share, you're not just engaging with this space. You're anchoring into a wider field of intention. We're rebuilding something meaningful together. This community is here as a mirror, a place where your transformation isn't just witnessed, it's echoed. And the more you pour into your own becoming, the more life reflects it back to you in kind. So Cancer, if something inside of you softened or stirred today, even if you can't name it yet, let it root. Honor that shift now by commenting below. I have stepped out of lack. I choose abundance. I am ready to receive and nurture prosperity. Let those words become your daily soil, something you plant over and over until it becomes a way of being. And if this message felt like it met you exactly where you are, if your body whispered yes at any point like this video, share it with someone you love. Come back to it, not because you're waiting for magic, but because you're starting to embody it. Because when we speak abundance aloud, when we speak it from our belly, from our breath, we invite it to become real. You're not waiting to be saved. You are becoming the one who remembers. And with every step you take, I believe deeply that these days ahead could mark the shift you've been sensing. Not because something happens to you, but because you finally say yes to the version of you that's been growing in silence. I'll meet you in the next message. Until then, stay soft, stay open, stay rooted. And remember, the money isn't coming to rescue you. It's coming to recognize you.